The fluorescent lights buzzed faintly above Maya's desk, reflecting off the spotless glass partitions that boxed her into a corner of the 18th floor. She had arrived before anyone else, as usual, a half-empty coffee mug cooling beside her laptop. The company's upcoming presentation was in 2 days, and she'd spent weeks perfecting the analytics report that would be the centerpiece. Every number was precise, every chart aligned, every forecast airtight. But when her new colleague, Claire, breezed in with a casual smile and the lingering scent of an expensive perfume, the air in the office seemed to shift. Claire had only been with the firm 3 months, but already she carried herself like she owned the place. Maya had trained her personally, walking her through databases, presentation styles, even introducing her to key clients. Claire was eager to learn, Maya thought at first. But lately, eagerness had morphed into something sharper. "Morning, Maya," Claire said, sliding into the chair at the desk opposite hers. "By the way, the boss loved the projections you showed last week. He actually mentioned using them for his board pitch today." Maya paused, fingers hovering above her keyboard. Her projections. She had shared the draft with Claire during training sessions, explaining how to connect customer behavior to quarterly growth. Somehow, Claire had packaged the work and passed it upward as her own. Maya forced a smile. "I'm glad he found them useful," she said simply, but her stomach tightened. By mid-morning, the team gathered in the conference room. Maya took her usual seat near the back, ready to observe and take notes. Claire, though the newest employee, sat right up front. When the boss asked for updates, Claire's hand shot up. "Actually, I've been analyzing some customer data trends, and I think there's a real opportunity in diversifying our outreach." Maya stiffened as Claire clicked to the screen share. Her own graphs flashed across the wall, the very ones she had built, line by line, formula by formula. Claire explained them clumsily, skipping details she clearly didn't understand, but the visuals were strong enough that the boss nodded enthusiastically. "Impressive initiative, Claire," he said. "This is exactly the kind of thinking we need for the promotion round." Promotion round. The words hit Maya like a slap. She had been waiting for this for years. Her supervisors had dangled it in front of her after every stellar performance review. "Keep working hard, Maya. Your time is coming." She bit her tongue. Correcting Claire in front of everyone would make her look petty, defensive. So she sat in silence as the team applauded Claire's innovation. Later, at her desk, Maya's inbox pinged with a new message from HR, "Shortlist for promotion interviews, congratulations." Her heart quickened until she read the names. Claire's was there. Hers was not. Maya leaned back in her chair, staring at the ceiling. She thought about the 12-hour days, the weekends sacrificed, the endless patience she had given to training others who leapfrogged her in recognition. She thought about the small humiliations, colleagues speaking over her, her ideas dismissed until echoed by someone else, her presence in meetings reduced to taking notes rather than leading discussion. And yet, she stayed. Because she believed in merit. Because she believed one day they would see her for what she was worth. But now, watching Claire laughing with their boss near the coffee machine, Maya understood something more bitter than disappointment. This was not a game of merit. It was a game of politics, and she had just been outplayed. Still, she swallowed her anger, packed up her files, and quietly decided. If the system would not reward her, she would build one where it had no choice but to. The day of the announcement arrived with the kind of crisp tension that made even the most seasoned employees sit straighter at their desks. Promotion day. In the world of this firm, it was more than a career milestone, it was survival. Those who climbed higher secured influence, visibility, and stability. Those who didn't remain invisible, easy to discard. Maya came in early, as always, though her heart felt heavier than usual. She tried not to think about the HR email that had skipped her name, tried to convince herself there had been a mistake, that maybe her boss had something bigger in mind for her. She rehearsed scenarios in her head. Maybe she'd be moved into a more strategic role, maybe her years of loyalty would finally pay off. When the staff gathered in the auditorium, the air buzzed with whispers. The stage was set with the company's blue and gold banners, the kind used for major announcements. Maya sat near the back again, pen in hand, though she doubted she'd need to take notes. She was simply waiting for confirmation of what she already suspected. The CEO stepped up to the podium, smiling with practiced ease. He spoke about growth, innovation, the need for fresh voices at the leadership table. His words blurred until he reached the moment everyone had been waiting for. "It is with great excitement," he declared, "that I announce our newest department manager, Claire Matthews." The room erupted in polite applause. Maya's pen slipped from her fingers, clattering to the floor. Claire walked to the stage with the confidence of someone who had been expecting this all along. She shook the CEO's hand, posed for photos, and delivered a short speech about teamwork and thinking outside the box. Every sentence was hollow. Maya knew those words, those ideas, those very strategies had been hers. The presentation Claire had flaunted weeks ago, the client initiatives she bragged about, all of it came from Maya's notebooks and late nights. Yet here she was, glowing under the stage lights, celebrated as a rising star. Maya forced her hands together in a mechanical clap. She kept her face neutral, even as the humiliation burned under her skin. Around her, coworkers turned, smiling, whispering congratulations to Claire, ignoring Maya as if she were part of the furniture. After the ceremony, she returned to her desk, each step measured, controlled. Claire was surrounded instantly by people eager to ride her wave of success. Even the boss, who had barely acknowledged Maya in months, lingered by Claire's side, grinning like a proud mentor. Later, as the office thinned out, Maya sat staring at her computer screen long after she'd stopped working. The words of the CEO replayed in her mind, fresh voices, innovation. The irony was almost unbearable. She had been silenced for years, her voice dismissed as too aggressive whenever she pushed hard, too soft whenever she tried diplomacy. Now, her very words were being spoken by someone else in a shinier package. That evening, she met her friend Anita at a quiet cafe across town. Anita listened without interrupting as Maya recounted the promotion, the applause, the stolen credit. "So what are you going to do?" Anita asked finally, her tone sharp but supportive. Maya stirred her tea slowly. "I don't know," she admitted. "If I stay, I'll keep giving everything and watching others rise off my work. If I leave, I'm walking away from 10 years of investment." Anita leaned in. "Maya, you're already running this place without the title. You're the backbone of every report, every project. What if you stopped giving your ideas away for free?" The question lingered like a spark. Maya went home that night and pulled out her old journals, notes she'd kept since her first year at the firm. Inside were pages of unused strategies, unapproved projects, concepts the company had dismissed as too ambitious. Looking at them now, she saw something she hadn't before, a blueprint for something of her own. By midnight, Maya made her decision. The next morning, she typed a short resignation letter. No fanfare, no confrontation. Just a quiet exit. When she placed the envelope on her boss's desk, he barely looked up. "Moving on already?" he asked with a dismissive chuckle. "Yes," Maya replied, her voice steady. "Moving on." She walked out of the building without looking back, though she could feel the weight of 10 years lifting from her shoulders. Claire could have the title, the applause, the shallow praise. Maya wasn't walking away in defeat. She was walking toward something bigger, even if no one else saw it yet. Maya's first weeks outside the company felt strange, like stepping out of a cage she hadn't realized she was in. No more fluorescent lights, no more forced smiles at morning meetings, no more watching her work paraded under someone else's name. Instead, her mornings began at a small co-working space, sunlight streaming through wide windows, her own name printed on the registration form for the first time. She had taken Anita's words to heart. Stop giving away your ideas for free. So she began compiling the years of research, strategies, and innovations the firm had dismissed. With quiet determination, she transformed those notes into a consultancy model, sleek presentations, and marketable packages. She built her website from scratch, designed her logo late at night, and sent her first round of outreach emails with a mixture of hope and fear. The replies trickled in. Small companies first, startups that couldn't afford big agencies but desperately needed guidance. Maya met with them in cafes, presented her frameworks, and delivered results that exceeded expectations. One client recommended her to another. Then another. Within months, her roster doubled. She poured herself into the work, and for the first time, the credit came directly back to her. Meanwhile, word drifted back about her old firm. Claire, now the freshly promoted manager, was struggling. The reports she presented lacked depth, her leadership alienated her team, and deadlines slipped through her fingers. Maya's former colleagues whispered their frustrations online, some even reaching out to Maya privately for advice. One afternoon, Maya received an email that made her stop mid-sip of her coffee. It was from a global corporation preparing to expand in the region, a deal so large that any consultancy landing it would gain instant credibility. They wanted a proposal. Maya worked through nights, refining her pitch, anticipating every question. When the video call with the board finally came, she presented with the calm authority she had honed through years of being overlooked. 2 weeks later, the contract was hers. The news spread quickly in industry circles. Maya's consultancy had landed a multi-million-dollar deal, the same corporation that was, unbeknownst to most, preparing to acquire her old firm. The irony was not lost on her. The company that once ignored her brilliance was about to come under the umbrella of her biggest client. When the acquisition meetings were scheduled, Maya was invited to represent the consultancy side, ensuring a smooth transition of projects and client portfolios. She walked into the gleaming boardroom wearing a tailored navy suit, her confidence understated but unshakable. Executives shook her hand, addressed her respectfully, and asked for her recommendations. Across the table, she caught sight of familiar faces. Her old boss looked wearier than she remembered. Claire, her once smug smile replaced by a tight, anxious line. Recognition flickered in their eyes as they registered Maya's presence, not as an employee, but as an equal, if not their superior. Maya kept her composure, her words sharp and professional. She wasn't here to gloat. Not yet. She was here to demonstrate exactly what they had lost when they dismissed her. Every point she made cut with quiet precision, every slide of her presentation a reminder of the skill they had taken for granted. By the end of the meeting, the acquisition was greenlit. Her consultancy would oversee critical parts of the transition, effectively giving her authority over the very department Claire now managed. When the executives filed out, Claire lingered, pale and restless. "Maya," she said finally, her voice almost a whisper. I didn't expect to see you here." Maya regarded her coolly. Life's full of surprises. She didn't need to say more. The balance of power had shifted. The woman once dismissed as invisible now sat at the table as the architect of their future. And she wasn't done yet. The weeks following the acquisition were a blur of strategy sessions, transition meetings, and endless paperwork. Yet through it all, Maya carried herself with quiet poise. Every interaction, every presentation, every decision reinforced her authority. The executives of the global corporation began to see her not as a consultant, but as an indispensable partner. Her old firm, however, was unraveling. Rumors spread of cost cuts, of leadership shakeups, of long nights spent salvaging projects Claire could no longer manage. Employees whispered in hallways and coffee shops, many of them secretly reaching out to Maya, seeking opportunities to join her growing consultancy. Then came the day of the joint town hall, the event where both companies would announce the final integration. Hundreds of employees logged in virtually, faces appearing in neat rows on screens, while executives sat in the front row of the auditorium. Maya was invited to deliver the keynote, a speech that would outline the vision for the future. She stepped onto the stage, the spotlight washing over her. She wore a simple, elegant black dress, her hair pinned back neatly. The hall fell silent. "Years ago," Maya began, her voice steady but resonant, "I stood in a room much like this, presenting ideas I believed could change the way we work. Those ideas were dismissed. I was dismissed. But today, I stand here not as an employee, not as a subordinate, but as the leader of a firm entrusted with guiding this next chapter." The words struck like thunder. In the crowd, jaws tightened. Claire shifted uncomfortably in her seat. Maya's former boss stared down at his notepad, unable to meet her gaze. Maya continued, each sentence deliberate, each pause measured. She spoke of resilience, of underestimation turned into fuel, of how brilliance cannot be buried forever. She didn't name names, she didn't have to. Every person in that room who had once overlooked her knew exactly what she meant. When she finished, the applause was deafening. Executives rose to their feet. Employees, inspired and energized, clapped until their hands stung. The camera panned across the audience, capturing the moment for the official company feed. Maya stood tall, a quiet smile on her lips. Later, as the crowd dispersed, Claire approached her. The arrogance that once defined her was gone, replaced by desperation. "Maya," she said softly, almost pleading. I could really use your guidance. Things have been hard since." Maya cut her off with a raised hand. "Guidance is something I give my clients. Not my betrayers." The words hung in the air, sharp and cold. Claire's face flushed, her eyes dropping to the floor. For the first time, the weight of her action seemed to register fully. Maya turned and walked away, her heels clicking against the polished floor, each step echoing like a victory drum. She didn't look back. That evening, she sat by her window overlooking the city skyline, a glass of red wine in her hand. The lights twinkled below, cars tracing golden lines through the dark. She thought of the years she had spent feeling invisible, the countless nights of doubt and exhaustion, the sting of betrayal. And now? She had built something of her own. She had reclaimed her power. Her enemies hadn't been destroyed by scandal or revenge plots, they had been undone by her success. It was the most exquisite revenge of all. Maya raised her glass to the city, to the silence, to herself. Then she whispered the words she had longed to say for years. They should have listened. Thanks for watching our story from the Untold Fiction. Like and subscribe for more intriguing and interesting stories like this one.